from being overrun by mini Mamdanis. So,
a lot of characters.
Despite nearly $70 million in outside spending, the People's Movement defeated the odds. Abdul El-Sayed won the Democratic nomination for Senate in last night's nail-biter of a primary. But the victory didn't stop there. Detroit has become the first city with fully Democratic Socialist House reps, much to the chagrin of Republicans who snuck over the line to put their finger on the scale. They're as scared as Mike Rogers.
Mike, I'm going to say right here, I know you're going to say no because you're a coward. 5 debates, all right? Yeah. If you're willing to stand with me and have a conversation, you and I both know that you will wither in front of your own crimes. But I'm going to make sure Michiganders know about them. Because at the time we're done, you are not going to have safe quarter from people holding you accountable to what you've done for them here in Michigan. We will send you back to Florida where you belong. 5 debates. I'm hoping for an answer today. It's going to be a lot of fun, my guy.
There's no way that Jan 6 Rogers is going to stand on stage and debate Abdul. He's much too scared. From a distance, he can lob insults about Abdul being un-American for having an Arabic name and being Muslim. Roger knows that if folks get a chance to hear Abdul speak at a debate, they'd see that he's the real American.
America is an incredible place. I used to live the contrapositive of the life I was supposed to live when I'd spend summers in Egypt. I crossed 15 hours and 10 years difference in life expectancy. But for the accident of being born here, I got the opportunity to get vaccinated against diseases that killed 2 of my aunts and uncles that I otherwise never met. I got to go to amazing public schools. I got to go to an incredible public university. I got my medical education paid for by the NIH. And at the same time, growing up just 15 minutes away from me, children whose families had been here far longer than mine, who never got those same opportunities. America can do glorious things, but to love America isn't just to dress up in some colors and pretend that everything's fine. To love America is to will America to do the hard work of being better. If you love America, you want America to be America for all of her kids.
With a message and a name like that, it's easy to draw the comparison between him and Zohran Mamdani. It's insane that in the year of our Lord 2026, they're still using the Barack Hussein Obama strategy. It didn't work back then, and it's definitely not working now. Zohran just swatted that little racist concern away.
Let's take a stand and fight to protect the greatest nation in the history of the world from being overrun by mini Mamdanis. So,
a lot of characters.
Yeah.
You must have the pro account. Well, I'm assuming that's in response to Abdul El-Sayed's victory yesterday evening. And first, I'd just like to congratulate Dr. Abdul El-Sayed on his victory. He ran a campaign where it was best described by his words of money out of politics, money in your pocket, Medicare for all. And if those simple commitments and beliefs are what drives Representative Johnson to these kinds of conclusions, I think it shows you how deeply out of touch the Republican Party is with the concerns of working class Americans.
Hilariously, MAGA is so upset, but at the same time, something odd is boiling up, a certain repressed bisexual rage that we haven't seen since Trump had Mamdani in the Oval Office. Like, I can't tell if Laura Ingraham here wants to stop El-Sayed or top him.
Will those Haley Stevens voters really vote for the guy who's the socialist dreamboat of diversity? Are they really going to buy his attempt to pivot and his silly gym rat flex and his tight-fitting black tee?
And his dreamy eyes and his charming smile. My God, Laura, I get it. He's hot, and MAGA is obsessed with him. J.D. Vance must have mistaken all of those muscles for couch cushions because he can't keep Abdul off of his mind. El-Sayed's response was so sharp that it's exactly why we need him in Congress for J.D.'s future hearing.
He said you hold yourself out as a working class hero who's going to fight for the working class by flooding your state with low-wage immigrants. What's your response?
Is that Peter Thiel's boy with that Ohio charisma he's got? That guy. I think we've had enough of him. The last thing that he said that made any sense was hillbilly elegy after he said that Donald Trump had no business being president of anything. That was the last time he made sense, and then he decided to suck up to power. But that's exactly what this is about. You've got Republicans who'll do anything for power and money, including corrupt their office, just like Mike Rogers has. For the 14 years he was serving in Congress, he took over $1 million from the pharmaceutical industry. He voted 19 times to raise prescription drug prices. And then he helped to architect the legislation that kicked off the opioid epidemic, killing nearly 600,000 people. Why? For money and power.
They want to say that somehow, because Abdul didn't win by double digits, it's not really that big of a win, which is just complete cope. It's cope so strong that it would be a felony in Texas. Plus, there was this little wrinkle about last night. Michigan has open primaries. Mike Rogers had the nomination locked. He ran uncontested. So how many Republicans voted for Stevens? And before you say, wait, this is just cope too, there is some evidence for this. First thing, the Republican turnout was suspiciously low, with some 700 Republicans showing up to the Democrats' 1.5 million. Some, of course, just stayed home, but others might have crossed over. Specifically in the Detroit area, where a lot of the Stevens-specific ads were played and her campaign focused heavily. But even with this being a Dem +7 year, the Detroit metro area swung 30 points towards the Democrats this year, which, as this pollster points out, kind of suggests Stevens was buoyed by crossover Republican votes. If you look at how they performed based on expectations, Stevens overperformed in the Detroit suburbs by 6 points. Now, interestingly, El-Sayed overperformed by 9 points in rural areas, completely discounting the electability argument. But what I think we saw were some independents and Republicans crossing over and just voting for Stevens, exactly like this guy claims he did. He was hoping for the lesser of two evils, he says, which makes sense if you take seriously the AIPAC lies that Abdul is anti-Semitic or that he's a communist coming to take all of your stuff. Detroit also, for some reason, went for Stevens despite every other race down ballot going heavily to the left. In fact, Donovan Mitchell is now joining Rashida Tlaib to make Detroit the first city fully represented in the House by DSA members. This proves that something is really brewing across the nation. They're calling this the Blue Tea Party, but I'll remind you that the original Tea Party was only 2 Republican incumbents being challenged by outsiders. We're already up to 30 across the nation with 7 DSA-endorsed candidates headed to the House. And it is not too late to join the movement, folks. Subscribe to U.S. Democratic Socialists, become a member, and be sure to check out your local DSA chapter. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.